Today I'm going to be replacing the fans on my computer. This is my computer. I've already taken it apart. Well, disconnected everything. So we've got a space for a fan back here. We've got a fan. This 120 millimeter fan here is completely shot. We've got another 120 millimeter fan down here that is also completely shot. And we're going to go ahead and take this case off apart, and there's another fan internally that just died. So typically on your case you're going to find one screw here, and if you look on the side panel there'll be another screw hole right here. I kind of leave my case apart. So this would be up here usually, but on this one we'll just use the other side as an example. I've got thumb screws. You just unscrew the thumb screws, take those out, pull the panel back just slightly like this, and lift up, and your case will come apart. So inside of this very dusty case, you can see all the internal components. We've got a nice Seasonic X650 gold power supply. Again, very dusty. I mean, I wipe my fingers, see all the dust come off. This is a 6950 video card, AMD Sapphire Radeon 6950. It's been flashed to a 6970. If we go over here, we've got my Cooler Master tower fan, and I forget what model this is exactly. With my finger on it at the moment, this thing is very warm to the touch. It shouldn't be. And the reason why it's warm to the touch is because this fan right here is dead. Like, I can hardly spin it. There shouldn't be that much resistance. When I turn this thing on, it attempts to fire up and then dies. This fan back here is better. You can see how it kind of spins freely, but it was making a bad sound, so I disconnected it. And this one up here is also bad. Again, bad sounds. So what I did to remedy this, I bought a pack of fans. There are 420 millimeter fans inside of this package. Let me adjust that down for you. So these are Xigmatech XSF F1252 fans. They're 120 millimeter by 120 millimeter by 25 millimeters deep. And they're supposed to be very quiet, which is important for me because I've been doing more video recently. So let's go ahead and open this package up. And inside you'll see the 4 fans just kind of nicely stacked in place. So we're going to take one out, and there's the fan, and let's spin it, and you can see how nicely that spins. Very nicely. Not anything like this guy in here that doesn't want to spin. So what do we have to do to actually replace these things? First thing is unscrewing them. The heatsink fan is a little bit different. It actually clips on. So actually let's do the heatsink one first. And to do that, we want to find the electrical plug. So if you look down there, all the way down, let me see if I can zoom in for you. All the way down this motherboard, right down there is the plug for the heatsink power. Plugs directly into the motherboard. We're going to unplug that. I'm just going to kind of tug on it and it will come loose. So just like so, we have the power that's loose. This kind of just clips in, so we're going to unclip it, pull the entire fan apart right off. Just like so. Again, you can see it doesn't spin the way it's supposed to. Thing is shot. So on this guy, so I'm going to figure out how to undo it. It's actually kind of a pain because what they did, you see these little rubber thingies, they keep it from vibrating against the tower cooler itself. And underneath of these are screws. You can kind of see, full focus, right in there. You can see where the screw is exiting. So we got to pull those out so we can put them in our new fan. Pay attention to the direction on fans. When you see this back plate that actually supports the fan, the airflow blows from, it sucks on this side where there's no grate and blows out the back where there is the grate / support for the motor. So in this case, it's blowing air through this side, through the fan, all the way out the back, and exhausting again out the back. Generally, your intake fans are going to be on the front of the computer case. I've got two up here. So it blows air coming in to the computer case, going into here, into here, into here. It's going to pull the air through the heatsink, which is very dusty, through the heatsink, exhaust it right back out, and it's going to go out the back. It's going to go out the top. Again, you can see how the fan here, it's open up here, so it's sucking air in, blowing it out the top. Hot air rises. And we've got our power supply where the fan on this guy actually doesn't run all the time, but when it does, it's going to exhaust air out the back. So keep that in mind. Another good rule of thumb for computer cases is to maintain positive air pressure. So if at all possible, you want to have more air blowing in than you want coming out. If you can't do that, like on this case, at least have as much air coming in as is being blown out. And that will help keep the case from getting so dusty inside. All right, so we need to take these rubber things off. I'm just going to kind of stick them off to the side. Hopefully they'll stick back on. They just kind of sit in place anyway. So this is easier done when you're not holding the camera. I'm actually going to put this guy away, and we'll come back. All I'm going to do is pull these little rubber feet off, and then I'm going to unscrew the fan, so that the bracket that holds the fan to the heatsink will no longer be attached to the fan. I wouldn't recommend working over top of your computer case, but hey, it seems like a nice workbench. Don't drop the screws. So on this particular fan in this heatsink, the bracket, there's really two little plastic brackets that go to it. That are independent of each other. So we got one on the right, one on the left. Take this off. So there's one. And there's two. This fan is dead, so we can get rid of that. Get our new fan, paying attention again to the brackets. And we're going to reattach our bracket onto this. And they screw right into the holes that are provided on your new fan. Might require a little adjustment, so best to leave the screws loose until you get everything lined up. So that bracket's on. I'll do the other side. Trying not to drop the screws. You can tell I'm using a magnetic tip screwdriver here. That's okay. It won't hurt anything, don't worry about it. Alright, so try and put the rubber feet back in place. They should be held in by friction. If they're not there, it's not a big deal. Just keep it from making noise. And we're going to put this fan right back on the heatsink. Just like that. Spins nice and easily. And if you're really paying close attention, you will notice that this only has 3 pins on it. instead of 4 that the old one had. That's okay. The 4th pin is for speed control. This one won't have the fan speed controlled by the motherboard, but that's okay. So it plugs right back in over here, same place on the motherboard, and you leave that 4th pin unpopulated. Just like so. Try and move that out of the way. And if you look very closely, you can kind of see that extra pin sitting back there. I know it's dark. And just make sure this wire doesn't get stuck in anything. If you're really big on cleanliness, you probably want to tidy the wiring up a little bit. So now let's go check our other fans. Our other fans originally used a Molex connector, like this one, and it's 4 pins. My new fans don't, so we're going to have to hopefully find a place on the motherboard to plug these into. If not, they sell power adapters that adapt the small 3-pin connector to the 4-pin Molex. However, to replace these fans, it's really about the same process as the CPU fan. You have to remove these 4 screws, make sure the direction of the fan lines up, or just take note of the direction. Remove the fan, put the new fan in, taking note of the direction, put the 4 screws back in, plug it in, and you're good to go. So I'm going to do that now. I see one extra fan header right down there, that 3-pin thing. That's a spot where you can plug a chassis fan into. And I think there's a second one floating around here somewhere. So I'm going to turn this camera off again, pull these fans out, and replace them. Another bad fan. Very, very dusty. Antec 2-speed. It's not 120 millimeter, so I'm not replacing that guy today because this one won't fit. However, the one on the side will, so this one will. It's pretty simple to replace. Whoops. Get my screwdriver out here. So all you do, screwdriver in. Yeah, make sure it's in focus. Just take the screws out. Really that simple. This is also a good time to dust the computer case out. Dust is your enemy for heat because it's an insulator. It's like putting a nice warm blanket on your computer. Your computer doesn't want a blanket. Your computer wants to be as cold as it can possibly be. This particular case is an Antec 300. I like it because it has dust fans in the front, but even so, it still gets dusty inside. So that fan just came out just like this. It's an Antec 3-speed. So there we go. Dusty. Sorry, computer case was hooked out. So we're going to continue our our fan replacement by replacing this back fan. So again, exhaust, we got the bracket back here, it needs to blow out that way. We're going to take our existing screws, just put them right in. Just like so. I tend to do a crisscross, so put one in, put the diagonal in. Put another one in, and then the other diagonal. Just like so. Then we find our empty header, plug it in, trying to cut yourself too badly, like I already have. Alright, good to go. Fan spins nice and easily. And that does that. Another thing I want to do, well, I have the computer out, so we're going to install this DVD recorder. I think this thing was free within an order, I can't remember. If it wasn't free, it was like $5. This computer case, or this computer only has a DVD reader. I want something to write CDs with so I can actually listen to music in my car, which does not currently have an auxiliary input on the head unit. So, new DVD drive is coming up. Alright, so on this one I was lazy and I only installed 2 screws up here. I took the 2 screws out and the CD drive will slide right out. It's got a SATA cable here, along with the SATA power cable here. That's all that it is. This one comes out, DVD-ROM. Pop that out. Pop our new writer in. Just goes right in the front. Really, really hard to screw up. Slide it in until it is flush with the front faceplate. Take the 2 screws that you just took out. One goes in the front up here. There are 2 holes to choose from. Just choose one. Put a screw in. Tighten it down just so it's snug. Adjust the back of the drive so that the other screws line up with the slots. Choose another hole. Put your screw in. I tend to stagger them, so if you put one down low in the front, put the one in the back up high. Put that screw in. Tighten it until it's snug. That's it. Plug your cables in. They only go in one place. Then, so it's power. Now we're going to put SATA in until it clicks. Some of the cheaper SATA cables do not click. Just be aware of that. That's it. The drive's installed. Our new fans are installed. I'm going to pop this case back on. This one just slides right in, just like so, and drops down. Let's see. It's really tight. All right, there we go. It's all back together. This was a pretty cheap case, so it doesn't fit together quite as well as it probably should. But as you can tell, it goes back together. It's very simple to do. If you have the thumb screws, they go in back here and here. And here's the computer running once again with the brand new fans. Nice and quiet. Well, it's got like a nice wind noise going to it, but quiet compared to what it was, and now it's not crashing. It actually works. So I guess that's the wrap up. It's got a nice CD burner back installed in it. Got a mechanical keyboard sitting over here. Some other junk, so sorry about the mess. This is the Blue Icicle audio interface that I have. That also goes to that CAD 1-inch condenser microphone up top. And sorry about all the trash and open stuff up on my desk. Alright, that's all. So, hope you enjoyed this. Again, this is RJ Nunnally for HexSound.com.